The 7-seat MPV rulebook was totally rewritten in 2006. That's because the Ford S-MAX was practical and spacious, but it looked sort of sporty, and it drove sporty too. This is the new second generation car, and the question is, has Ford pulled off the same trick?
Well, let's start at the back because it is an MPV after all. Now, if I open the tailgate, on this particular car, it's an electric one, and of course it takes an absolute age. You'll find that the opening is nice and square. It's very, very large, and even though the bumper juts out, loading stuff in isn't too difficult. You'll see I've got enough space for a large size suitcase, and we're in the 7-seater format at the moment. Converting it to 5 couldn't be any simpler. Just pull the tags at the top and back they go into the boot floor, giving a large square loading area. Now, how big is that, I ask? Well, I've got a prop just to demonstrate it. I've got a nice push chair, and in it goes, and you can see that there's loads and loads of space. If I push it to the side, I can easily fit some more bags, some shopping, and my large suitcase, meaning the S-MAX is great for those family holidays. Now, if I want to fold all of the seats down, I don't have to run round the side and start playing with toggles and handles. Oh no, there's some buttons here. If I press those, the seats electrically fold straight into the floor, giving a capacity of over 2,000 litres. That's like a van. Getting into the back couldn't be any more straightforward. I just pull on the lever on this seat and in I get. It's surprisingly simple for a car with such a low roofline. And if I pull this seat back into its original position, I'm actually really struggling for knee room. I'm also struggling for headroom, and there's less space back here than a Citroen Gran C4 Picasso, for instance. Having said that, there is a cup holder back here, one on each side. I've got a bottle of ginger beer. There's a little cubby suitable for your mobile phone, and there are speakers back here. Let's get into the middle row, slide this back into its original position, and if I'm not carrying anybody in the back and I want to have a bit more knee room back here, I just have to slide on the lever, and I've got tons and tons of knee room. I've also got a good amount of headroom, and there's ISOFIX points in this seat, and this seat, effectively meaning you can have 3 child seats side by side. Now, if you really need any more room, Ford will of course sally the Galaxy.
Ford hasn't scrimped on standard kit in the S-MAX. Entry-level Zetec comes with everything most family buyers will want: dual zone climate control, front and rear parking sensors, DAB radio, electric windows all round, and Bluetooth phone connectivity with voice control. Our mid-spec titanium adds automatic headlights and wipers, sat-nav and cruise control, and a load of options. In fact, it's easy to get carried away with the options list, which can make the S-MAX very expensive. Should you want your S-MAX a little posher, there's even a Vignale version.
Up front, and it's typical Ford fare. So there's lots of soft touch plastics, the seats are lovely and comfortable, and it's very easy to get a good driving position thanks to a fully adjustable steering column, and on this car at least, an electric driver's seat. One thing to bear in mind with the S-MAX though is you do sit a little bit lower than you do in other MPVs, meaning it is a little bit more car-like to drive. The dashboard is dominated by this colour touchscreen, and it's virtually the same system as you get in all other Ford models, meaning it looks really good, but on the move it's just a little bit difficult to use thanks to lots of sub-menus and tiny little buttons, but you'd probably get used to it.
Being an MPV, storage is great. The glove box is suitably large. There's 2 good-sized central cup holders. There's a cubby for your mobile phone with a 12-volt socket and 2 USB ports. Behind this, there's a space for mint imperials, a place for your sunglasses above your head, a cubby on top of the dash, door bins that pass the car by a big bottle test, a massive storage bin under the armrest, and a secret compartment lower down the dashboard.
Now when it comes to choosing what engine to have in your S-MAX, it's relatively simple. There's a couple of petrols, 158 brake horsepower 1.5 or a frankly ridiculous 237 brake horsepower 2 litre. But in reality, it's the diesels that will interest most. I mean, after all, this is an MPV and not a hot hatchback. There's 118 brake horsepower 2 litre or there's 178 brake horsepower 2 litre. But we've got the middle of the range diesel, the 148 brake horsepower 2 litre, and it's the pick of the range. It's nice and smooth, it's not too noisy, and really, even with 7 people on board, and we've tried this, there's more than enough punch.
Ford claims over 50 mpg for this car, but we've been getting 37.4. Our car has the 6-speed power shift automatic, which is really smooth, and it's front wheel drive. Both the 148 and 178 brake horsepower 2 litre diesels can be chosen with 4-wheel drive, but there is a noticeable impact on fuel consumption and CO2.
The previous S-MAX was based on the old Ford Mondeo, and it was easily the best car to drive in its class. Now, unsurprisingly, the new S-MAX is based on the new Ford Mondeo, and whilst this new car isn't quite as fun to drive as the old one, it's still right at the top of the tree for driving fun in this class. It's also very, very comfortable. The suspension is nice and soft, the steering is light but accurate, meaning that this car is not only fun on a country lane, but also at chugging day in, day out up the motorway.
The only real problem with the S-MAX is that while standard kit is generous, the level of safety kit Ford throws in free of charge is measly. Adaptive cruise control, active city stop and blind spot monitoring are all pricey options, whatever trim level you go for.
So the new Ford S-MAX, is it the king of the 7-seater MPVs? Well, the Citroen Gran Tourer Picasso is cheaper to buy and the Seat Alhambra is more spacious. But no other car in this class is practical, it's enjoyable to drive, and it looks pretty good as well. Now, if you want to find out more about this car's rivals, you can do so by clicking the video on the left for our review of the Citroen Gran Tourer Picasso, or on the right for our review of the Seat Alhambra. Click at the top for our latest video and on our logo to subscribe.